The Greek crisis has certainly rattled the market, so how concerned should Australia be?
With us now is George Boubouras, Chief Investment Officer at Fund Managers Contango. Good to see you, George.
Good to be here.
First of all, just a personal reflection. You are a Greek Australian, you have family back there in Greece. How are they seeing this?
Look, it's a dark day for Greece. So once you put capital controls into a system, you freeze the banking system. That's not a good future for anyone. So obviously they're going through deep and dark recession for some time, 8 years of pain, 5 years of extraordinary pain. And unfortunately, it's not going to get any better if Greece is not part of the European EU or the zone or any part of that union in a monetary sense. It's just not a good outcome for the future generations of Greece.
What happens next? Who is going to blink first, the European leaders or the Greeks?
I suspect the Greeks will blink first. They've got one card at the poker table. Angela Merkel, Francois Hollande are very seasoned politicians. They've gone through this scenario with their various central banks and out of Brussels. So they've got the commanding position here. The key date from everyone's perspective is the 20th of July, a $3.5 billion payment to the ECB. They're already in arrears on the IMF. They're a defaulted developed nation for the first time in history. Again, Francois Hollande and Angela Merkel have got the hand at the moment.
But someone has to be realistic here. The country is broke. 55% unemployment. It can't pay its debts.
Exactly, and it can't pay its debts. And what do you do from here? And the reality
you can't keep imposing debt provisions and debt requirements on a country that actually just can't pay the debt.
Exactly, and if the blame game happened, everyone has got something to hold on to. So everyone's got something to justify itself. Brussels can justify itself for getting here with the hardline hawks out of the Bundesbank and the Germans. The Greeks can justify why they've rejected this, and in essence why they needed some relief along the way, and to reposition their debt program, which means the others will. So everyone, the blame game can start, but unfortunately the Greek citizens will pay the price regardless.
And on that street level, the banks are staying closed for yet another day. That, George, is causing immense hardship, isn't it? A lot of social friction. Disaster.
Once hoarding begins, and once the Greek government if they issue IOUs this week, that's a pseudo parallel currency. That is not a good outcome. So it is disaster at the street level.
All right. So Germany and France have said, well, you guys then come up with a solution. Put yourself, if you can, in the mind of Euclid Tsakalotos. What do you think he should be suggesting?
Euclid should do everything he can to get back onto the bargaining table, to get things, any sort of emergency relief program. They just kept the bare minimum last night. They need the banks to be inundated with cash. And the Europeans can do that because they can also turn on the tap of quantitative easing. They can print more money. They're doing it and protecting Italy, Spain and broader Europe. They need that cash to come to Greece, but they need to cede on something in the negotiation. I don't quite know what that's going to be.
What do you think it should be?
What it should be is some ability to meet the IMF payment in arrears, which is diabolical in its sense, and get the lawyers to renegotiate what the terminology is, not a default and arrears, etc. Make sure you can meet the $3.5 billion Euro ECB payment to the European Bank on the 20th of July, and do everything it can in the interim to continue reform the taxation system and also at the pension level.
And how are your family members holding up there over in Greece, George, particularly the younger ones who, as we know, struggle to get any form of work?
The younger ones, there's just no work at all. The older ones are just obviously incubating and hoarding and living in their multiple houses. That's what they're all done okay. But the young ones are just leaving. So there will be an exodus, and the Greek diaspora effectively will just continue. There'll be more going to Canada, US, Australia, etc. in the UK.
What's the potential contagion effect or outcome from all of this? So we're talking earlier about maybe the effect on Australia and other economies. Will there be one?
Financially, not so much, because most of that contagion was obviously in evidence 3-4 years ago. They've been removed from all monetary leverage whatsoever. It's Spain and Italy that's the issue. In fact, the SPI futures, the equity market in Australia overnight is up about 20 points or 1/3%. So the contagion's not there. However, the issue would be if there's a template to leave the euro, and you don't ring fence that, you've got issues down the track. But that implies that Portugal, Spain and Italy, economies like Italy and Spain that do matter, if people start pricing that into the bond market and the equity market, I think we've got chaos in the years ahead if that happens.